So I'm Kate. I'm the marketing specialist for the Division of Student Affairs. And this is Stevie Lesko. She's my student photojournalist, and she manages our social media accounts as well. So what I do is a lot of the graphic design, photography, and social media for the entire division. So if the Career Center, Rec Center, Student Activities need something done so students know about events, that's where we come in. So we're going to be talking about how you can utilize social media to get more people interested in your organization, or at least aware of the events you put on that anybody could come to. So first, you need to figure out what makes your organization and your social media account unique. There's a lot of different UNT accounts out there, from student organizations to the athletics, and each division and college has their own. So you need to figure out why your account is important and why students should follow you. So make sure that you're putting stuff out there that it could be funny or interesting, ask questions from people, give them a reason to follow your account. If all you're doing is posting pictures of y'all having fun, that's really fun, but if they're not in your organization, they don't really get anything out of it. So post information they could have learned at your event, or upcoming events that they could maybe go to, or fundraising, things like that. A good example of adopting a persona is Whataburger. They're always really funny, and they don't actually ask people to try their products very often. They just know if you follow us on social media, it's because you want to laugh. And if you keep seeing our name over and over again, you're going to want to eat there eventually. So the next one is to use visuals. I think we all know, especially on Twitter, that when you're scrolling through, visuals, pictures, graphs, or videos are going to catch your eye a lot faster. They're easier to process also, so that when you're just scrolling through, you might see Target and Purina, but you really see the dog, and then you're going to stop and read what the tweet was about, and then you're going to go, well, I have a dog and it's National Dog Day, maybe I'll post something, or maybe I'll go buy dog food at Target, something like that. It also helps a lot because it makes people following you feel like they're a part of it, even if they're not yet. So if I see a bunch of girls having fun, or I see a bunch of people working on this cool NASA project, or whatever your organization does, they'll see what it could be like if they were a part of your organization. So just giving them something to put themselves into almost is really helpful when it comes to social media. The next one is find influencers in your target market. So all of your target markets, since you're at a university, is going to be fellow students or incoming students. So that's done right there. But you could dig down deeper and figure out, are only girls in your sorority, are only engineering majors in your sorority, and then you can target them only. Influencers are people that have a lot of sway on campus, so whether that's an SGA member, somebody that is in theater and always has people interacting with them on social media, getting them involved with your organization. So say that you are going to host a fundraiser, and you're going to do like Swishes for Wishes, something like that. So it's a basketball tournament. If you get the basketball team to repost some of your stuff, you don't have the same followers. So if they're retweeting you because it's a basketball tournament, you have something in common, they're going to reach way more people than you could ever reach, because you reach totally different people. So your demographics will go way up and your attendance could skyrocket. A good example of that, I'm going to click on it, is the John Krasinski Esurance commercial from the Super Bowl.
When Esurance told me we bought the first commercial after the big game, I was like, great. And then they told me how much they saved, $1.5 million, about 30%, which is what they say they could save you. And since they like passing on their savings, that's what they're gonna do right now. With this, what? Yeah, just tweet hashtag EsuranceSave30 and they'll give all this to one of you. Oh, I think I got guac on the money. I'll just keep this. No, okay, putting it back.
So how Esurance used an influencer there, John Krasinski has millions of followers, and being in the commercial, and then he tweeted it out and put it on his Facebook page, it reached way more people. That ad reached way more people than just Esurance posting it on their Twitter that had a couple thousand followers. So they were able to really engage with people. They had people switch over to Esurance after they followed them for a while, and just a lot of more interaction on social media so that they could up their customer service. So finding somebody that you could partner with and have a mutual beneficial relationship. So if you can help, going with the basketball metaphor, if you can help the basketball team get more attendance at their event by having your organization show up to their game, then they'll come help you at your event and get more people involved in your stuff. So finding a way to work together on campus is really important. The next one is be concise and engage your audience. So the shorter your post, the easier it's going to be for people to just skim past it. They'll read your entire thing without realizing they read it because they are skimming. And then if it's interesting to them, they'll engage with you and they'll respond and all that kind of stuff. When you have, 4 sentences or a paragraph up there, they're going to skim and read maybe the first 3 words and the last 3 words. And if that's not the important information, they're just going to keep on going. So what this video is, Red Bull's Twitter page, they have a lot of images, it's a lot of sports, it's not really anything to do with an energy drink. So what they asked is, what's the most random place to go kayaking? And they had 246 favorites and 122 retweets. And this guy kayaked through a drainage tube. It looked really weird, but it's a 22-second video, so you watch half of it just scrolling through your timeline, and then you're like, what is that guy doing? And then you engage with their post. So figuring out what your audience is interested in will help also. Red Bull caters to extreme sports, and that's an odd take on an extreme sport, but something that people find interesting and funny, so they're going to want to engage with it. The next one is be consistent. So this example is from UNT. They post every day, multiple times a day. You can count on it, whether it's an ice day or a holiday or nothing is happening on campus because it's the middle of summer. They're going to post 4, 5, 6 times a day. And the reason they're able to do that is they have a content calendar scheduled way in advance. I'm talking 3 months in advance. They know everything that's happening on campus. They know all of the holidays. They know all of the hashtag National Dog Day is coming up because it was this week last year, so we can count on it being this week next year. All that kind of stuff. So they know, well, we have 3 tweets set every single day for the next year. And then we'll retweet or find out stuff as it comes, because there's always going to be things that you can't count for. So being aware that you should know what's going on around campus, especially you should know what's going on in your own organization. If you always have a fundraiser in April, get some details on it and start tweeting about it in February. Start getting people excited to donate money to your organization or to your charity way ahead of time so that it's more likely that they'll remember and they'll show up.
This is so important.
Do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, sure. So a big thing about getting some interaction is knowing the right times to post on your social media. This is some information I found online. It gets kind of gray because, some people have different times in this, and some people have these, and so it's gonna be beneficial to kind of play around with these times and see. It might just differ for I don't know what kind of reasons, for unknown reasons. So it might be good to just play around. Maybe start with these times and then maybe vary a little bit, maybe before or after. You can even try posting things at night, which I know isn't a noted time on here. Yeah.
Like another thing for my org, we're very
Which
big,
is what?
ASO, African Student Organization. We're very, very big on Twitter and pubbing and stuff. And our key time to drop a video or promote a video would be Sunday at 8. And that's what we always do, Sunday.
Because
at
everybody's
weird, right?
sitting at home watching football or TV,
Exactly.
scrolling through their phone.
Sunday at 8 is our
That's
time
funny.
to drop. But,
I can say for us, one of our most popular times is around lunch, because students are getting out of class, eating lunch with their friends before they head to class, or they're on campus early to get parking for a class. So they're all looking at their phone, trying to waste time because nobody wants to pay attention. when you're not in class yet. So that's a really popular time for us. And then again, nighttime when everybody's procrastinating homework or
Exactly.
waiting on their friend to show up at the restaurant.
So this is a good like starter guideline, but don't be afraid to experiment and see if there are any varying times that work best for your org.
So this is building a network. It goes along with the video that we watched. Sharing other people's content is super important. So this is an example from just a couple days ago. John Krasinski had a new, I don't remember if it's a TV show or a movie come out, and he tweeted out the trailer and then waited for opening weekend, and then really the only thing he did on social media was retweet people's reactions. He wasn't going out there telling people how great this movie is and why he thinks you should watch it. He let his audience tell potential audience members. So if you're trying to get people to join your organization, maybe have a highlight reel. Why did we join our organization? What do we get from this experience, and why is it important to my life now and in the future? And you can retweet from them. You can just start a hashtag saying like why I joined, something like that. And then that could stay even broader to where it's not just your organization, it's why did I join any organization? And what are they getting out of their organization that we can try and implement into our organization? So just getting any kind of analytics like that would be really helpful as well. The 1 in 7 rule. So this is a really good way to make sure you're not annoying people. For every 7 tweets or 7 posts on Facebook or Instagram, anywhere really, 6 of them should be fun, engaging content, asking questions or telling them, like trying to tell a joke or just sharing unexpected stuff that's kind of meaningless but entertaining. And then 1 should be a promotion. Hey, so I looked on the Cowboys this morning and they had the last 21 tweets. It was all fun stuff. And then they said, oh hey, we have a game this weekend, you should tune in. And that was it. There's no hard sell. It's just, this is what we're all about. We're really fun and we want you to be fun with us. So trying to stay along with having a personality and telling them about your organization will make them want to join your organization without saying, you should join our organization every 3 tweets every other day. Yeah. Okay.
This is stuff that I am really passionate about, these kinds of communication efforts. One big thing that is important for potential members is that you're very easy to reach. So if you give out a phone number or an email address or tell them to message you on Facebook or Twitter, you need to make sure that you're checking those emails and messages. And if you are in class or you don't like to answer random phone calls, make sure your voicemail is set up with your name. You don't necessarily have to say what organization you're in because people who aren't trying to call you for that will still call you and hear your voicemail. But that will just be to let them know that they got a hold of the right person. So just make sure that if you tell them ways to contact you, that you're checking those ways and to make sure that you can get in touch with each other, because if someone doesn't hear back from you, that might be it for them. Like they don't want to reach out again, or they think that maybe you're not interested in gaining more members. Designating an officer for social media or outreach or communications is a good idea. I'm sure most of your orgs have that. What organizations are you guys in? You said African Student Organization.
IEEE Computer Society.
What is it?
IEEE Computer Society.
Kai Topsail Dance Honor Society and North Texas Emerald.
What about you?
I was part of the social media club the last semester, but there's a meeting, I think, that's joined the non-part of College Republicans.
Okay. So for all of those, you can designate an officer for all those. I'm sure you guys have that. But that way it's not just like random people or people who have graduated who still have passwords to your accounts or something. So make sure there's one, if your org is big, maybe even 2 or 3 people to take care of all those prospective members, even members who have already joined who may have questions and things like that. One thing that might be a good idea is to create a logo for your organization if there aren't any already. Now URCM has kind of strict rules on that, so you'll probably have to get it approved and things like that. But if you're,
University Relations Communication Management. So they do all of the branding, like colors, if you see billboards, they're the ones who make that.
so like I said, they're fairly strict on that, but if you're out at a tabling event and someone is maybe interested in your org and they see your logo, maybe that might be just a slight visual for them to help remember what your org is about. Not all content has to be original or saying, just like Kate was saying, that you don't always have to say, join our club, or hey, come to our event, or things like that. A big example for me is that I'm in the cycling club, and our governing body is USA Cycling. And so one thing I suggest is figuring out what your governing body is and following them on all their social media and retweeting stuff from them, sharing Facebook stuff from them. So like for us, the Olympics just happened, so that's a good place to go, like retweet information about races, results about races, sharing links on Facebook to the race schedules, things like that. So you don't always have to make up the content yourself or just share from other orgs, but from bigger organizations like your governing body.
Like, I know for us, we don't really have like a bigger governing body. Like, it's just really just like us, and then like every other school like in Texas, you know? So it's kind of hard to like share that kind of content. I know like for my sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha, we kind of follow their international page and like retweet their stuff. So I think for us, it's kind of harder to.
Yeah, you can retweet stuff from the other chapters, even though it's not the governing body, and just say, our organization at UT Arlington just did this great event. If we tried to host something like that, would you be interested? Or would you go to something like this? Or what are your thoughts on the philanthropy they raised money for, or whatever kind of event it was?
So next, for OrgSync, you should all have, when you register, you have to, your constitution is what it's called, which should have your mission statement and your objectives, miscellaneous information about your club. So when you make your mission statement and your objectives, be sure to honor those and really stick to your core values of your club, and hopefully that will, those are all positive. I would like to think so. You know, as long as you stay positive and stick to your mission statement and your objectives and your goals, hopefully that will help retain members as well. And then the biggest thing that I like to do is give advance notice on when you have events. So, you know, the day before might not be the best time because, you know, some people aren't on campus, some people have class, which I guess you couldn't make it anyway if they had class. But, you know, if you give them at least a few days notice, maybe they'll write it down, and they will hopefully be more inclined to go. Whereas if you tweeted something 2 hours before, they might see it, but they might get caught up in other things or things like that. So just be sure to give advance notice on your events, meetings, etc.
In addition to advance notice on events, don't be scared to post about your event a lot. People forget what they see on Twitter. You can honestly tweet about it every single day for like the 2 weeks leading up to it. And as long as you have other content and your page isn't just come to our event, come to our event, come to our event, come to our event, it'll be fine, especially on Twitter. On Facebook, maybe not, but especially on Twitter, people are tweeting so much, and they have so many followers and so many people that they are following that they might see it and go, oh, that looks interesting, I wonder what it is, and then not look at the rest of your post. But then they might see it the next day and be like, oh yeah, I wanted to go to that thing, or thanks for the reminder because that's in 2 hours. So don't be scared to post about it multiple times. Just make sure that what you're posting is different. Don't use the same exact language and picture and stuff like that. Change it up just a little bit.
GIFs help too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes, they do.
I think it was UNT Union. It wasn't Homey, I think it was Union. They had all different gifts before move-in day, and so they had a countdown with all different graphics. So it's still the same message, but it's a variety in what the audience is seeing. Does anybody have any questions?
That's it.
Okay. Well,
Any
thank you for
questions?
coming here.